Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert here from the Business Awards Show, and I'm also the owner of the Best Business Women Awards. And today I'm joined by Darrin Salt, who is the owner and MD of the Technologies Group and VA Voom. We're going to find out more about VA Voom later. He's been in the IT industry for over 30 years. And he's also been a judge on the Best Business Women Awards for the last 6 or 7 years. And he's been a sponsor on the Best Business Women Awards. And it also led him to enter business awards himself for his business. And he went on to win. So today we're going to be talking all things awards from the judge's perspective, from an entrance perspective, and also from a sponsor's perspective. So Darrin wears so many awards hats, it's unbelievable. So welcome, Darrin.
Thank you, Debbie. Absolute pleasure to be here.
So we always start with our guests by asking them to talk a bit about their business journey, because you've had quite a long business journey.
I have,
a few
yes.
years. So tell us a bit about the Technologies Group and VA Voom.
Okay, so the Technologies Group was founded under a different name back in 1989, and I joined the business at around that time. And then in 2010, I was very lucky to have the opportunity to buy the business from the existing owner. It's not often you get the opportunity to buy a business without having to do due diligence. I knew the customers, I knew that there weren't any skeletons in the closet, and you know, the rest is history, as they say. Obviously, there have been some challenges along the way, but yeah.
So tell us what sort of clients you work with, what sort of services that you offer.
Okay, so we primarily provide IT support and help desk. In sort of today's climate, a lot of that also focuses around cybersecurity. And we have quite a lot of clients in the business services market as well. Most of our clients tend to be between about 5 and 50 members of the team. That doesn't mean that we don't look after sole traders as well, or some slightly larger businesses, but primarily in that sort of 5 to 50 bracket. They're big enough to need IT support, but not big enough to necessarily have IT support in-house.
Brilliant. And the new product, VA Voom, what's all that about?
VA Voom. Okay, so because we've got so many business service clients, we realised that there was actually a real need, because of the way that they are now working so flexibly with self-employed associates and contractors, to be able to operate a secure IT environment, but without actually having to buy laptops for the entire team. So VA Voom is a browser-based work environment for every member of the team. It keeps the data safe. It keeps you sort of Cyber Essentials certified. It will ensure that there's no risk if an employee or an associate just leaves the business. You haven't got to worry about getting a laptop back. They can't have any data on their own personal device. It's just the perfect solution for today's flexible sort of hybrid business model.
Fantastic. So if someone's got their own laptop, you can essentially port your business onto their laptop and remove it as and when needed.
Exactly, because they have to sign into the browser every single day in order to do the work for that agency. That
sounds fantastic, actually. So this has been just recently launched, though, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. We sort of started plans for it last summer. Soft launched it around Christmas. We've now got the sort of the website up and running, platforms up and running. We've got a few other existing bookkeeping and virtual assistant clients actually trying it out, and giving us feedback. And yeah, it's ready to pretty much rock and roll.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to talk a bit about awards. Now, we met through a mutual networking contact a few years ago, and I was looking for more men to join our business panel, our judging panel for the Best Business Women Awards. So you came on board. He's a brilliant judge. To anyone who's listening to this, he's very, very attention to detail. And you also came on board as a sponsor. So let's talk a bit about judging awards. So we'll start with that. When you get these entries in front of you, Darrin, what are you looking for? What makes an award entry, you know, get your interest?
Okay. Well, I think the first thing is it has to tell the story. you don't, even though I'm very facts and figures focused, which I'll come on to in a moment, it needs to tell the story. It needs to tell the story of the business owner, the business, how it was founded, what its achievements are. Those are the hooks that get you in, those are the things that make it an interesting read, and sort of really get you to sort of understand the business.
And then when you're sort of scoring things, what are the things that you're more likely to actually give higher scores for? You touched on facts and figures.
Facts and figures, no, definitely. I think the first thing is that the question is answered correctly. So, of virtually all awards, including the ones I enter for, have a series of questions that you have to answer. We're talking about proper awards here, not the ones that you just buy off the shelf. We've all seen those, but yeah, proper awards, you have to answer questions, and you've got to read the question and answer it, and not put down something else. So that's the first thing. But then it absolutely comes down to sort of facts and figures. If you're asked for proof, say, of your social media, or how you deliver customer service, or your financial strengths, then you need to provide that evidence, because if you don't, the judge has got nothing to judge you on. It's as simple as that. And I would say I am a very fair judge, but I am quite firm.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, but there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, you only have initially probably about 15 minutes or so per entry to sort of look at the initial information, and you don't want to be trying to dig around trying to find stuff. It needs to be presented to you, doesn't it?
Exactly, yes. No, I mean, it really is up to the entrant to sort of lay it out for the judges to be able to quickly assess the entry. That doesn't mean that we don't go back and revisit entries. I mean, I think I probably could easily spend an entire hour on an entry, especially if I feel it's worth it.
Yeah.
If it's sort of piqued my interest, and that I'm starting to get a feel that there's good data there that I can look at, then I will go back to that entry. So it's definitely worth putting the effort in. I think so many people leave it until the eve of the close of the entrance to get something done. Oh, the day, or the day after. Can I have an extension, please? No.
So, what's the worst things that you've seen in award entries?
Worst things are obviously just not answering the question at all. But I know that certainly most awards will probably filter those entrants out before we as judges get to see them. The other one is literally sort of a copy and paste between questions. So there'll be something in one of the question answers, and they will literally copy and paste it down to one of the other question answers. That's not going to work for several reasons. One, it means you're probably not answering at least one of those questions correctly. And the second thing is it stands out like a sore thumb. So yeah, not good.
And I think evidence is another thing, isn't it? People don't put enough, or they don't put the right evidence in those two areas. I don't know if you remember the year when we had the dog grooming table pictures, which, at the end of the day, if you're a dog groomer, as a judge, you're going to expect somebody's got a dog grooming table, and to submit that as a picture, as your evidence, it's not going to work. So people should be thinking along the lines of case studies and testimonials, and really demonstrating their knowledge and expertise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, case studies are great. Testimonials are brilliant. Testimonials often not only show that you are good at your business, but they also very often will show great customer service as well. And I know that's something that a lot of awards focus on.
Definitely. And you're going to be sponsoring the business services category this year, which is very aligned with VA Voom. So as a sponsor, what drives you to sponsor business awards? What's your overall aim with that?
Well, part of it actually is altruistic. So I love to sponsor the Best Businesswoman Awards when I can, simply because of the fact that I'm passionate about diversity in business. Even though I am a middle-aged white male, there are so few women in business. There are certainly in my sector, the tech sector, seriously underrepresented, anywhere between 8 and 13%. That's it. And I'm absolutely passionate about the diversity, inclusion. You know, I don't just want to see you breaking through that glass ceiling. I want it smashed. And you know, and some of the female entrepreneurs that I've met, both your awards and elsewhere, they are so passionate and they achieve so much more than men because they are doing so many other things as well. You know, a lot of us will just rock up to work at 9 in the morning and put our coat on at 5 p.m. You know, and I see so many female entrepreneurs juggling so many balls, and it's an absolute credit to them.
That's lovely, thank you. So having been a judge and a sponsor, it kind of then inspired your own awards journey, didn't it? So talk us a bit through what that looked like for you and what you did.
It did. So I've been involved with your awards now for I think 7 years in total. You know, mixed between judging and sponsoring. And after the first couple of years, I thought, actually, there's got to be something in this. Your award winners are getting all this free press and great SEO and that sort of thing, you know. So I entered something called Britain's Best IT Business Awards. And I am pleased to say that the Technologies Group has now won an award in those awards for the last 5 years, including 2022. So yeah, so back in March I went along to a swanky dinner in central London where the awards were being held, and picked up another lump of glass. So I'm going to need a bigger mantelpiece soon.
You are? I didn't realise it was as many as 5. That's incredible.
Yeah, five in a row as well.
So are you looking at other awards, maybe more local, like looking at expanding your reach within Greenford where you're based?
So, well, we were a finalist last year in West London Business Awards as well. So only a finalist, not a winner, but nevertheless, it's,
as I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
yeah. So yeah, no, we're trying very hard and
caught the awards bug. So
definitely.
One of the things we always talk to our guests about is business challenges, and you've obviously been in business now for quite some time. What would you say have been your biggest challenges that you've had to overcome over the years?
Several, I think. There's one that sort of any business that's not just one person will encounter, and that's managing people. So that's definitely one. I would say that one of the challenges is managing sort of your customer base, because when you start off in business, it's so easy just to try and grab every piece of business that might possibly come your way. But I think a lot of businesses, you know, the customer actually isn't always right for you. They might be right for someone else, but they're not necessarily always right for you. And it's quite difficult sometimes for a new business owner to say no, actually, you know, or they'll try too hard, you know, they'll offer discounts they can't afford and that sort of thing. So that's something that I think, you know, businesses have to do. And also, once you do start trading, you need to build in a little resilience as well, because, you know, things like recessions, cost of living crises, they come along. And you know, you've got to have something there for a rainy day. And you know, that's not just talking about cash flow, but I'm talking about, you know, maybe some sales in pipeline that you haven't actually converted yet into business. But you know, if you haven't got that pipeline there, suddenly you'll think, okay, well, where's the next bit of business coming from? So yeah, those are the sorts of challenges. And I know quite a lot of business owners or certainly business coaches will tell you that you should niche in business. And that's all very well, but I think you have to be careful how you do it. We've got quite a wide customer base, and the thing about that is it does protect you sometimes in the rough times, you know, if there's a recession. So you know, because different businesses are affected in different ways at different periods during a downturn. And I think having a slightly broader base, even if they're in a particular sector, but having a slightly broader base can help you.
I think that's a really good point. I mean, this is the trouble. I think sometimes people take these words of wisdom from coaches and take it to the nth, and then realize, oh gosh, that sector's in big trouble, and now I haven't got any clients, or my clients aren't spending the money that they were. So in
Yeah.
terms of cybersecurity and IT support, would you say a lot of small businesses just don't pay enough attention to this area?
Certainly cybersecurity. I think, a lot of businesses know that they might need some IT support.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily know what type of IT support they need, and we'll sort of guide them, and we've got a variety of different packages that can be affordable for virtually everybody. But when it comes to cybersecurity, a lot of small businesses think that all they need is a bit of antivirus on their laptop, and possibly the free one will do, and that's it, job done. But there are a lot of threats out there, and the thing about small businesses these days is they're much of a target as bigger businesses, if not more so. A couple of reasons for that. One, the cyber criminals know that the smaller businesses can be much easier targets than the big businesses because they've got fewer defenses. And the other part of it is that very often a lot of small businesses have larger businesses as clients. And the cyber criminals will try and get into a smaller business's IT system so that they can gather data on that business's clients and customers.
Wow, hadn't even thought of that. That's, there's so many threats going on all the time. And if you work with a company like yourselves, at least you've got some protection, additional protection in place.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive either. It's just a matter of doing it right, and a lot of it is also about education as well. Exactly. It's what to look out for, those types of things, and understanding the types of fraud that are going on as well. Sometimes there's no technological solution; it's just about being aware.
What's on the agenda for your business for this year?
Well, we are growing our IT support services fairly steadily, which is great. But I think most of our focus for the rest of the year, this year, will be on VA Voom. We have launched it as this new product. We know that we've got customers waiting in the wings. The business service agencies since the pandemic have really taken off. So many businesses, because they've downscaled or closed offices or rearranged the way that they work, they're looking to outsource business services, be that bookkeeping, virtual assistants, other types of outsourcing. And therefore, our focus probably for the rest of the year, not our sole focus, but our main focus will be on VA Voom.
And I think, we've gone through this huge transition since the pandemic, and I think it's altered the way we work now forever. I really do. I don't think there's any going back to where we were before that.
No.
And I think, in a lot of ways for the better, but we did try the awards online. It doesn't work so well. There are some things that don't translate online, and I think award ceremonies are one of them, because it is the celebration, the face-to-face contact, the getting dressed up and having a great night out, which you just can't replicate that in the same way online. You just can't. So we will be still doing our face-to-face events without a doubt. I know some awards now are online.
Two of the years that we won in the Best Managed IT Companies Awards, there was, two of those were online, and they were quite damp squibs by comparison to the actual the in-person awards. And I think, to be honest, with business as well, these virtual platforms such as Zoom that we're on now, they are absolutely great for certain things, but sometimes getting together in person, is still so relevant. And sort of things like collaboration with teams and things like that. Yes, in-person meetings are great, but perhaps it's better that your office is a series of meeting rooms with some breakout space. But when you want someone sat at a desk just typing on a keyboard, why does it have to be in the physical office?
Yeah, the time that we're saving commuting, and I do so very few meetings face to face now. Most of it's on Zoom, but it's still nice to get out and about. And we've put our awards masterclass online as well. We used to deliver that face to face. Now we can just deliver it online. People can just go and get the masterclass and work through it at their own pace. So I think there's loads of stuff now that we can do, and I think that's why it's so important to talk to businesses like yourself and make sure we're protected as much as possible, as we're spending so much time online. We need to protect ourselves as much as possible. So thank you for joining me today, Darrin. It's going to be another great year. I've got a good feeling. We've got some good entries coming in already and lots of excitement around the awards. And your tips are invaluable to anyone who's putting their entry together. You know, do listen to what Darrin's told you, because he knows his stuff. We do call him the Simon Cowell of the judging panel. And he will be, I think you're firm but fair. And I think that's the key here, is all the attention to detail. And the more information you can put in your award entry, the better. There's never too much.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Never too much. If you're not sure about whether to put something in, put it in, because it might be that bit of information that takes you from finalist to gold winner. So yeah, definitely put that in.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining me. Good luck with VA Voom. We shall be following the progress following the progress of your award applications as well. If you're listening to the podcast, we will put Darrin's details into the show notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, we will also put his details into the comments. So thank you for joining me today, and good luck with the VA Voom.
Thank you, Debbie. It's a pleasure to have been here. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye.